What if your dog has already started pulling away from you and you have no idea it is happening? What if the little things you have been ignoring, the yawning, the looking away, the slow tail wag that used to be so fast? What if those are not random habits but actual signals? Signals that your dog is losing trust in you quietly, slowly, without a single bark. This is not a scare tactic. This is real dog psychology, and by the end of this video, what you discover might completely change the way you see your relationship with your dog. Stay with me, because the fifth sign is the one most dog owners completely misread. And when I tell you what it actually means, you are going to think back to moments with your dog and see them in a totally different way. Let us start with something most people never think about. Dogs do not speak our language, obviously, right? But here is the part we forget. They have their own language, and they have been speaking it to us every single day. The problem is, we are not listening. We are too busy assuming that because our dog wags its tail or follows us to the kitchen, everything is fine. But trust in dogs is not built or broken in dramatic moments. It is built or broken in the small, quiet, everyday interactions that we barely even notice. Think about your dog right now. When you walk into the room, what does your dog actually do? Not what you hope it does. What does it actually do? Does it run to you? Does it lift its head and then put it back down? Does it stay exactly where it is? These tiny responses are a window into something much deeper than most people realize. Now, before I get into the 5 signs, I need you to understand one thing about dog trust, because without this, the signs will not make complete sense to you. Dogs are not like people. When a person loses trust in someone, they might argue. They might distance themselves, obviously. They might tell someone else. Dogs cannot do any of that. What dogs do instead is adjust their behavior in ways that are so subtle, so quiet, that we almost always interpret them as something else entirely. We call it laziness. We call it aging. We call it just having an off day. And while we are busy explaining it away, the gap between us and our dog gets a little bit wider. Here is the first sign, and I want you to really sit with this one because it is not what you expect. Your dog stops making eye contact with you. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, my dog looks at me all the time. And maybe it does. But there is a difference between a dog that looks at you and a dog that holds eye contact with you, soft eyes, relaxed face, completely comfortable in that gaze. When a dog trusts you deeply, they can hold your gaze without anxiety. Eye contact in the dog world is actually a vulnerable act. A dog that is nervous, uncertain, or uncomfortable will break eye contact quickly. They will look away, look down, look anywhere but directly at you. And if your dog used to hold that gaze and now consistently avoids it, that is not just a mood thing. That is your dog telling you something in the only language it has. But here is the part that gets people. Most owners accidentally train their dogs to avoid eye contact without ever realizing it. How? By reacting negatively during eye contact moments. Think about the times you have raised your voice or reached for your dog unexpectedly or interrupted. A calm moment with something your dog found overwhelming. Your dog does not separate you into 2 people, the calm you and the scary you. To your dog, you are one entity. And your dog is constantly reading you to figure out whether being close to you right now is safe or not. When too many of those eye contact moments have been followed by something negative, your dog quietly learns to look away first, just to be safe. What most dog owners do not realize is that this is not defiance. It is not stubbornness. It is a survival strategy built into every dog's psychology. And it is one of the earliest and most overlooked signs that trust has been quietly eroding. Now let us move to the second sign. This one is going to surprise you, especially if you think your dog is just being independent or calm. Your dog no longer chooses to be near you when it does not have to be. This is different from a dog that is sleeping in another room because it is hot. This is about where your dog chooses to be when nothing is forcing it to be anywhere. Dogs that deeply trust their owners tend to orbit them, not always in a clingy way, but in a casual, comfortable proximity. They will settle near you on the floor. They will follow you between rooms not because they are anxious, but because where you are feels like home base to them. It is relaxed. It is natural. It is trust. Now think about what it looks like when that starts to change. Your dog stays in the other room. Your dog does not follow you into the kitchen anymore. Your dog settles in spots that are technically near you, but with its back turned or with the maximum amount of space still inside the same room. And again, we explain this away. Oh, it is just getting older. Oh, it is just too warm. Oh, it just likes that spot now. But here is the psychological layer beneath that. Dogs choose their resting positions based on how safe they feel. A dog that trusts you will rest in a way that is open, relaxed, sometimes even vulnerable. Belly up, legs, in the air, completely exposed. A dog that is losing trust starts to rest in more protective positions. Curled up, facing away, tucked in a corner. These are not just physical preferences. These are emotional states made physical. And this is where things get interesting. Because the reason your dog might be pulling away physically is often not one big event. It is not always the time you accidentally stepped on its paw or raised your voice during a frustrating moment. It is more often the quiet accumulation of small misreadings. The times your dog tried to tell you it was uncomfortable and you did not see it. The times it tried to slow down or move away and you kept engaging. Over time, your dog learns that being near you sometimes means being overridden, and so it starts choosing distance as a form of self-protection. The third sign is one that almost every dog owner has seen but interpreted completely wrong. Your dog starts yawning, licking its lips, or turning its head away during interactions with you. Now, if you have ever noticed your dog doing this and thought it was just tired or distracted, I completely understand. That is the obvious interpretation. But in dog body language, these are what behaviorists call calming signals. They are a dog's way of communicating discomfort. They are saying, "This situation is making me feel uneasy. I am trying to de-escalate it. Please back off a little." The yawning is not tiredness. The lip licking is not hunger. The head turn is not distraction. These are your dog's polite way of saying, "I am not comfortable right now, and I am trying to communicate that without escalating to growling or snapping." Here is where it becomes really important. When a dog uses calming signals and the person keeps going, keeps hugging, keeps doing the thing the dog is uncomfortable with, the dog learns something critical. It learns that its communication does not work. And when communication stops working, trust starts to dissolve. Because trust is built on being heard, even across species, even without shared words. What most dog owners do not realize is that dogs have an incredibly nuanced communication system. And the tragic thing is that most of us were never taught to see it. We were taught that a wagging tail means happy and a growl means dangerous, and almost nothing in between. But between those two extremes lives an entire emotional language that your dog has been speaking to you every day. And if you have been missing it, your dog has been slowly filing it away as evidence that you are not quite safe to fully trust. But that is not the real reason this sign is so significant. The real reason is what happens after a dog stops trying to communicate through calming signals. When a dog gives up on the subtle signals, it either shuts down entirely and becomes withdrawn, or it escalates to clearer and more intense signals, which we then label as aggression or bad behavior. In reality, the aggression is not the problem. It is the response to a communication breakdown that started much, much earlier, in the yawns and the lip licks and the little head turns you did not know how to read. Now we are at the fourth sign. This one is quiet. It is easy to miss, and it is one of the most heartbreaking. Your dog no longer gets excited to see you, not in the way it used to. Maybe you have noticed it. Maybe you have pushed the thought away because it is uncomfortable to sit with. But think back to when you first got your dog, or to a period when things felt really connected between you two. How did your dog greet you? That full body wiggle, the unstoppable energy, the way it seemed like you were literally the greatest thing that had ever walked through that door. Now think about how it greets you today. A dog that is losing trust does not stop loving you. That is a really important distinction. Dogs are loyal in a way that is almost painful. They do not stop caring, but what they do stop doing is expressing it freely, because expression requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trust. When a dog greets you with a slow tail wag, a brief sniff, and then walks away, that is not personality. That is emotional guardedness. The dog has learned through accumulated experience that full expression sometimes leads to unpredictable outcomes. Maybe the excitement was too much, and you responded with irritation. Maybe the jumping was corrected harshly enough times that the dog now approaches you in a more managed, careful way. It is still happy to see you, in a guarded kind of way. But the fullness of the joy is being filtered through a layer of learned caution. This is the sign that breaks most people's hearts when they really see it clearly. Because it is not dramatic. It does not look like a problem from the outside. It just looks like a calm, well-behaved dog. And sometimes what looks like calmness is actually a dog that has learned to make itself smaller around you. Now we are at sign 5. I told you at the beginning that this one is the one most people completely misread, and I meant it. Your dog listens to commands, but shows no emotional connection while doing it. It sits when you say sit. It stays when you say stay. It comes when you call it. But the whole time it looks almost mechanical. No eye contact, no wagging, no check-in glance at your face, just compliance. And here is where most owners get this. Completely backwards. They look at a dog that follows commands reliably and they say, "My dog is well trained, my dog respects me, my dog and I have a great relationship." But there is a profound difference between a dog that obeys because it trusts you and wants to work with you, and a dog that obeys because it has learned that compliance is the safest strategy. In dog psychology, this is called learned helplessness. In its early stages, it is not full learned helplessness, but it is the beginning of that pattern. When a dog has experienced enough unpredictability, enough frustration-based training, enough moments where trying something different led to a negative outcome, it narrows its behavior down to the thing that causes the least friction. It complies, it performs, and it disconnects. The dog is not with you in those moments. It is managing you. And that distinction between a dog that is present with you and a dog that is managing interactions with you, that is the line between genuine trust and surface-level obedience. This is the part that almost nobody talks about in dog training content. We have become obsessed with behavior. Does it sit? Does it come? Does it stop barking? And all of those things matter on a practical level. But behavior without emotional connection is not a relationship. It is a performance, and your dog knows the difference, even if you do not. So here is the moment I want you to really sit with. What actually builds trust with a dog? It is not treats. It is not commands. It is not being the alpha or being strict or being soft. It is consistency and communication. Specifically, it is the combination of being predictable, responding to your dog's signals, and giving your dog the experience of being heard. When you notice your dog yawning and you pause and give it space, you are speaking its language. When you let your dog approach you on its own terms instead of reaching for it, you are building a bank account of trust. When you create routines that your dog can count on, you are giving it the gift of predictability in a world that is often overwhelming and confusing to an animal that cannot ask questions or explain itself. The biggest mistake I see dog owners make is not cruelty. It is not neglect. It is unawareness. It is moving through daily life with a dog without ever learning to actually see the dog, without understanding that every yawn is a word, Every turned head is a sentence. Every slow tail wag is a paragraph in a story your dog has been trying to tell you. And here is the realization I want to leave you with. The one I hope genuinely shifts something in how you see your relationship with your dog. Your dog is not waiting for you to be perfect. It is not keeping a scorecard. What it is doing, every single day, is looking for evidence that you are safe, that being near you is good, that trusting you is worth it. And every time you respond to its signals, every time you give it space when it needs space, every time you make yourself predictable and gentle and present, you are giving it that evidence. Trust is not something that happens once. It is something that happens in every single interaction, in every glance, every greeting, every training session, every quiet evening on the couch. Your dog is always watching, always reading, always deciding. And the beautiful thing is, it does not take perfection to rebuild or strengthen that trust. It just takes awareness. It takes seeing your dog the way it has always been trying to be seen. If this video opened something up for you, if you looked back at your dog while watching this and saw something you had not seen before, then share this with someone who loves their dog. Because most dog owners have no idea this is happening until it has already gone too far, and the ones who do know are the ones whose dogs look at them with soft eyes, settled bodies, and full, uncomplicated joy. Watch more videos on this channel if you want to keep learning how to become the person your dog already believes you can be. Subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next, because the next video is going to go even deeper into something most dog owners never discover until it is too late. Your dog is talking. It is time to listen.